All right, Tuesday morning, the 11th. We've got 6 degrees here in central Vermont. The snowbanks are high, yes, on the edge of the, North Main Street here. But they are going to be doing some snow removal sometime this week, so I'm told from the city. We were talking about this yesterday on Aired Out, but again, just another reminder. It looks like it's going to be a partly cloudy day today. We're going to get up around maybe 30, which is a heat wave. So maybe some snow showers too. I know there was a little something I had posted, I think, last night. Maybe it was this morning, I can't remember, about the potential for some snow squalls today. So we're watching that. We're paying attention, especially to Channel 5, WPTC. They do a great job. They're watching things very careful. But tonight, cloudy, down around 3, and then Wednesday, tomorrow, partly cloudy skies and around 27 degrees. Watching carefully the potential for some snow this coming weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, with Sunday being a little bit more than Saturday. But nothing that's any kind of monster storm here. I think, 1 to 3 on Saturday, and then 3 to 5, I think, on Sunday. So just keep that in mind if you have some travel plans, if you're going to be out and about this weekend. I'm going to see on Tuesday if we can reach Deb from the World and find out what's going on over there. Very busy team. I spoke with Gary Haas yesterday, which is always nice. Good morning. Is this the World?
Good morning, JD. This is Deborah.
Hi, Deb. How are you today, hon? How are you feeling?
Great. Really good.
Tell us about what's in the world today. I can't wait to get my copy from Chris.
Well, first of all, we want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day and let them know that we have 21 local businesses with last-minute gift ideas for their Valentine. Also this week, we have a special senior living section for the 50-plus lifestyle, plus the Adopt a Pet page with 18 pets looking for their forever home. Upcoming events at the Barrie Opera House on February 21st is Natalie McMasters and Donald Leahy. On Saturday, February 22nd, is the skate park fundraiser poker run and pulled pork dinner. And February 16th through the 23rd is Restaurant Week in downtown Montpelier. They have lots of special deals, prefix menus, and events.
I can't wait to see the world. And by the way, Linda Mercy from the Travis Mercy Memorial Skate Park fundraiser and poker run, she's going to be in here real soon. I love that lady. Randy Henry and the rest of the team, they do such a great meal every single year. I've lost track of how many years they've been doing this.
Oh, I don't. I think she told me it was like the 24th or something like that.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, it's
way
been
up
a
there.
long time.
Yeah, it's well over 20 years.
Yeah.
And we love promoting that event. So it's become kind of a staple in our community for a very long time, Deb. Always,
Yes.
as I said, always looking forward to grabbing a fresh copy of the World, hitting the hands and the eyes of more than 20,000 Vermonters every week. I don't know how you guys do it, but you're doing it.
We love it. We do it every week.
Say hi to
Yeah.
Gary for me this morning. I hope you guys are staying warm.
All right. Thank you, JD.
Thank you so much, Deborah. This morning in the news, well, there's a couple of things. There's nothing that's really monstrous here. Kind of like the weather. I mean, it is what it is. Let's see. The higher ground is trying to get to Burlington. They're looking at some property on Pine Street again. Kind of re-examining a potential move. We've got the story about Ed Cram, this 70-year-old guy who's in a lot of trouble. Let's see, Daytona 500 coming up this weekend, of course. Some guy trying to get past a security checkpoint with not one pistol, but two. Says he forgot that he had them on him. Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Oh, the other one too. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I had two on me. Amazing. We have 26 mixed income housing units coming to Waterbury at the old town hall building. Should be completed by next year. That's in the news today. We have the U32 girls heading on up to Lamoille tonight. For girls hoop action, which is going to be amazing. Always is. It was so nice to have Nishanda, head coach of the U32 girls, in here yesterday. Weather-wise, Baltimore and D.C. supposed to be picking up at least 6 inches of snow out of this system that's coming across, I think, from somewhere out in the Midwest. Is it Missouri? I think is where this thing is starting. I don't know, but it's going to be a pretty good snowfall. I'm seeing 6 to 9 inches for the D.C. metropolitan area and Baltimore. The further north you go, though, you get into Philadelphia, and it looks like the totals are going to be a little bit down from that. So kind of an isolated, narrow storm, but still going to bring that region some pretty good snowfall. Cadets and Elmira going at it this weekend. I think this is the final set of home games for the season for the Cadets. So Elmira's coming to town. And that'll be this, Friday and Saturday, I think. Bobby Bartlett is sitting right across from me. Bobby, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, JD. How you doing?
Man, the hair is looking great. You knew I was going to bring up the hair this morning. I mean, come on. You knew that, right?
Yes, I did.
How many comments do you get about the hair?
You know what? Not many, but more since you brought it up.
Really? Did you hear Rex and I talking about you a couple weeks ago?
Absolutely.
You did catch that.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely honored to have you back as a presenting sponsor. State Farm is amazing. What can I say? You guys have my policy for auto, I've forgotten. Auto, home, and several vehicles on the auto policy.
Yeah.
Motorcycle, too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens when it's kind of like a tattoo, right? You get one or two, and then obviously we make sure we don't miss anything. Make sure that you don't have one policy over here you're paying more on, that it's a separate bill coming in. So we just want to make sure that you're protected and everything looks good on our side.
One of the biggest things that I love about you guys, and I know you've heard this before, and we're going to have some fun this morning talking about insurance, believe it or not. I told you last week that we would. Is that you guys you're local. It's like you're right there on Main Street.
Yeah.
You're right there. There's a face. I can call you like I did not long ago. Bobby, got a new car. I need insurance on it immediately.
Right. The good news, everybody knows actually where we are. Everybody drives by South Main Street, How many times a day? I think there's like 10,000 cars that go by there each
Sure.
day. So the good news, everybody knows where we are. And we really do pride ourselves as being the local agency that's accessible, right? And that's the biggest thing that I hear with anybody coming to my office, calling in and just saying, hey, I can't get a hold of my insurance company. I can't get a hold of my agent. Can you help? And of course we can. You walk around the door. You can message us on Facebook. You can text our local number.
Yeah.
And we can help you that way.
You text the 479?
You can.
What?
Yeah, you can text it. We do a lot of communication via text when it comes to like bill pay reminders, just normal questions about mileage and that type of thing.
So you can be at work and you can shoot over a text and say, hey, here's my VIN. What can you do for me?
Absolutely. And there's some things we'll have to go over and maybe call you to get some information for that you can't send via text. But a lot of general information and general questions can be brought via text.
And you're literally, as we've been saying, putting your money where your mouth is.
Right.
Here. So how's that work?
Yeah. Who else is doing that, right?
No one.
Right. So basically, we're doing any new customer that reaches out to us at this point for the month of February, the love month, if you want to call it that, right? And gets a quote from us, a new quote. We're going to send you $20. $20 just to have us take a look and see what we can do to actually help you.
No pressure.
No pressure. And you're not going to get that type of like salesy environment from my office.
Yeah.
We don't want you to be worried about dealing with us. We don't want you to be hiding in the grocery store when we come around the corner. Be like, oh man, there's Bob. Let's not talk to him. Let's hide. He's trying to upsell me.
Right.
That's not what we like. We want to be able to be there and be like your professional and be the person that, like State Farm says, is your good neighbor.
Yeah. And you're not going to be calling people every 5 minutes the next day. Have you thought about it? Have you thought about it? What's going on? I mean, we don't want. Nobody wants that.
We have a rule in my office that 3 non-answers is a no, right? So no means no, right? And that's the biggest thing we can teach everyone in society and our kids, and it's one thing I really focus on with my kids. And we teach that at the office is, we're not going to beat your door down for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that, especially here in Vermont. We understand that it just might not be the right fit.
Right.
And sometimes folks just don't know how to communicate correctly back to us.
Sure.
And we get that.
Yeah,
so we close out the file when we let them know, hey, are you okay with us closing that file out?
Yeah, and we're here. You know where we are if you want to talk about this more. But you don't pester, and I love that. Nicole, Lisa, Tiffany, Malia.
Yep.
And, of course, Jessica. That's the team over there.
Yeah.
When you walk in, you're going to be greeted right away. Usually it's Lisa right there.
Yeah. So basically, when you walk in the front door, you're going to see service team, right? Because I have 2 teams. I have service team and I have sales team, which is great because if you need service and you can, you call the number and you're going to get someone, right off the bat. If you need a quote and you call the number, you're going to get a quote same day. Like, so it really separates that, where everybody can do everything.
Yeah.
But we have like very special roles over at the office where that someone's not waiting a day, 3 days, a week.
Right. For
a vehicle change, for answers on coverage, or a question about a bill.
Okay. I have so many questions for you. I have questions about potholes and fires and floods and stuff. But should we call over right now?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, call. Give them a call.
Right now.
Give them a call right now to see if they answer. Let's see. Let's test them.
All right. 479-3353. We're calling over to State Farm right now, right here in Barrie.
Thank you for calling Bob Bartlett State Farm in Barrie, Vermont. If you are new to our agency and would like a quote, press 1. If you are a current customer, need to report a claim, or have other questions about your policies, press 2.
Yeah.
If you would like to make a payment.
Wait while I transfer your call.
I love doing stuff like this. This is great.
State Farm in Barrie. This is Lisa.
Lisa, this is Bill Jones calling here from East Calais. I'm just trying to figure out where the heck you guys are.
We are actually located right across from the new Abishan on Main Street in Barry. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, actually, I don't.
Okay. Well, let's see. We're right on Main Street. 92 South Main Street is the address. Let's see what else is close to us. The Reynolds house is right next door.
Oh yeah, I know where that is. Yeah. All right.
You know where the Reynolds house is? Okay.
I do. Yeah. Oh, you guys are that little brown building that's kind of set back from the road a little bit. The big parking lot there.
That's it. Yes,
okay.
sir.
So if I walk in there today, Lisa, with my auto policy or my homeowner's policy, can I just drop that off and you guys can look it over and just get back to me and see if there's, a better deal that you can do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And what time do you close?
We close at 5 o'clock.
All right.
Monday through Thursday, we close at 5. On Fridays, we close at 4.
So if I come in there at 4:55 and throw some papers at you and say I got to go, you can handle that?
Absolutely.
All right. Is Bobby there? Is Bobby there today? Bobby Bartlett, the man with the hair?
He's not here right now, but he will be here later this afternoon.
All right. Thank you, Lisa, very much.
Absolutely. You're very welcome. We look forward to seeing you.
All right. Wow. It's good, Bobby.
Hey, she didn't even know that was coming.
No. What did I say? What did I say? Bill Jones? What the hell? Why couldn't I come up with a better name than that? Jeez. Wow. But that's what it is right there.
Right.
And I did that to you guys. I brought you a bunch of paperwork and it was like, Bob, I don't understand any of this. You do. Here it is. Get in touch with me when you can.
Absolutely. And I wasn't really worried about that call because that's what we do every day. Like I said, the biggest thing that I get and people are just frustrated around here is I can't get a hold of my agent.
Yeah.
My agent will not let me speak to them within a certain amount of time. And then I have to wait. And I've been waiting 2 days to get this done. That call could have just taken care of an issue for you.
Sure.
Like, in a situation where there's a bunch of 800 number type insurances out there, we're the alternative. We're the local option there.
I know that you won't say Progressive, you won't say Geico because you're a respectful guy. But I've had both, and before I was with you, I had Progressive. I can't stand when there's something that I have, whether it's a question or, Sherilyn will say to me, hey, you're over 50 years old now. You should find out if you got a discount. And I call there, and I'm getting bounced around for 20 minutes, and then I've got somebody that I'm having a hard time understanding them. They're maybe having a hard time understanding me. I love face-to-face. I love a local number. Yo, here's the deal. I need an answer right now. That's what I love about
it's
you guys.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's really amazing. And when you're like take a step out of the profession where you see people in the community and they're like, hey, I'm so happy I made the switch to you.
Sure.
I really love dealing with Nicole. Yeah. I really loved working with Tiffany. Lisa did a great job. Malia did fantastic. Like, those are the cool things for me because I'm a small business owner as well, right?
Right.
Like, I'm not this big, CEO of a company. Like, we're striving to protect our community.
How long have you been the bus driver over at State Farm here in Barry?
So we're coming up on 5 years, April 1st. So JD, we opened April 1st of 2020.
Okay.
What happened at that point? COVID, right?
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you work to open a business, you have a business plan, you come in with all these great plans, and then I had to throw it in the garbage can, right? Because COVID hit.
Yeah.
But it was a blessing in disguise, right? As a business owner, it was very worrisome. But it was a blessing because guess what? People got to stay home.
Sure.
And say, hey, let me look at my insurance. I have time to look at this stuff.
Think. Yes.
Right? And we have the same conversation we had when you came into the office. Yeah. Let's take a look at your coverages. Let's see where you have gaps. Let's see where we have concerns about those gaps.
Sure.
And how we can fix that for you.
And part of the reason was because I had my auto policy with one company, I had my homeowners with another company, and I had my life insurance with another company.
Right.
And I just brought you a couple of files and threw them at you and left. And then you called me back in like, I don't know, a day or so and had some rather fascinating information. Just got a comment here. We've had State Farm for years, but Bobby's team is who keeps us around. I wouldn't recommend any other office except this one.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
I want to, and then right after COVID, Bobby, 2 huge floods.
Right.
What was happening over at State Farm during these floods?
That was a crazy time, and it was a very stressful time for customers. And we have us as an insurance agency trying to help patch that situation together. Because guess what? Flood insurance is an exclusion on all home renters' business policies. So most people did not have coverage. Actually, the stat behind flood coverage is like only 10% of homeowners actually carry it. And a lot of people didn't understand their coverages and were completely caught off guard during that situation. So, my office as a whole, we got to work submitting claims knowing they were going to get denied because it's an exclusion, right? Just because we knew that we were going to need that denial letter so that customers could actually present it to FEMA to try to get some help there.
Can you believe that everything that you did in 2023, you did it again a year later to the damn day?
Yeah. And
unbelievable.
How crushing, right? As for this town and the community and Vermont as a whole, right? And, we had the answers then, right? Like we knew exactly what we needed to do. We jumped on and customers were upset the same way they were prior.
But I have homeowners.
Right.
I've got homeowners.
What I think the first thing I told you, JD, is, hey, do you know any of your coverages? Do you know what's covered and not covered? And when's the last time you had a talk with your insurance agent, right? Because my biggest fear for any of my customers is
not knowing.
Paying their hard-earned money for coverages that they have no idea what it is.
That's it.
And that's the tough part. That's what we try to not happen.
Overpaying and underpaying.
Yeah. I mean,
it's scary for both. Because overpaying, a lot of us are just set up on auto pay. We don't, we don't really understand all this shit, and we're just like, just auto pay it and whatever. I'm covered. I have insurance, but we're overpaying.
You could be overpaying. You could be underinsured. Right. I think 40% of folks are in the state are running the bare minimum of insurance for liability. Right. What's that mean, JD?
What is that? What percentage?
40%.
40%?
Yep. And what's that? So the state minimum, which says you have to have liability insurance in the state of Vermont, right? So what that minimum is $25,000 per person for liability.
This is auto.
Auto, yes. So for bodily injury liability, it's $25,000. For the entire accident, for everybody in the vehicle, max is $50,000. Property damage, which is if let's say you rear end a vehicle at the stoplight here on Main Street, getting that vehicle fixed that you hit is $10,000. That's the state minimums. That could also be landscaping. That also could be a telephone pole. That also could be if you hit a building or a home.
If a drunk guy leaves the road and smashes into the side of your house.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so 25, 50, 10.
Right.
State minimum.
So that's the state minimum.
Below that, it's illegal.
Well, you just can't get a policy. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the lowest that any insurance company will write, and it scares me that anybody would even run that.
Okay.
I'll give you an example.
That's like nothing.
So if that same vehicle that you hit at the stoplight right here, I don't know, maybe you hit a patch of ice. It's a rough day. It wasn't your fault, really, but it is. You rear end somebody, okay? That person that you actually hit gets hurt, and they have to go seek medical attention. If they go to the hospital and have lost wages, how much of that do you want your insurance company to pay for?
All right, stop it, because you're scaring me here. But I keep going.
Right.
Stop, but go.
You sound like my wife. So, the question I asked is, how much do you want your insurance to pay, right? Now, the answer to that I hear every day is all of it. I don't want to pay a dime.
Yeah.
If you're running the minimum at $25,000, that one person has to go seek all that medical attention and have lost wages. they're probably going to lawyer up, right? They're going to come after you for, I don't know, $150,000, right? Your insurance company's going to pay $25,000 of that. Where's the rest of it coming, JD?
Your house?
Your wages, your house.
Your boat?
Your retirement.
Your camp?
Yeah. It's going to get found somewhere. Now, right? How do you fix it? This is what we do every day.
Well, if you're going to lawyer up, then you're spending even more money. You're spending a lot of money.
Well, I mean, at that point,
my God,
it's a situation. It's a big situation. So how do you fix it? You can increase your liability limits. So I always tell this, right? Cheap is cheap, but cheap isn't always better. You get what you pay for sometimes. And this is one of those things that we talk about is know your coverages, right? This is a self-accountability thing. You know, cheap is okay until you need it, right? You can fix it by increasing your liability, right? A lot of folks would recommend starting at $100,000 per person, $300,000 for the entire accident, and $100,000 property damage.
Bobby, look at how quickly you can rack up those numbers in a hospital in no time, right, even without surgery. My God.
Let's flip that. Like that vehicle that you hit, right? If you're running $10,000 in property damage liability, what's the average vehicle, do you think, driving, how much it's actually worth here in central Vermont? I don't know, maybe $25,000?
Yeah.
Right? So let's say you total it.
15 to 25, yeah.
So your policy's only covering $10K. That's it. Where's the rest of it coming from? Same situation.
Wow.
Right? So that's auto insurance. I mean, in a nutshell of liability, right? Then you have your comprehensive and your collision deductibles. And that's what they call full coverage, right?
Okay. Brace yourself. I'm going to ask you about potholes here, but go ahead.
Comprehensive, basically your fire, theft, vandalism, flood, water damage is covered on auto policies, okay? But all act of God falls into comprehensive, right? Could be if you hit an animal or deer.
Tree falls.
Tree falls. Ice falls from a building, right? That type of thing. Collision like it sounds. You hit somebody, it's your fault, getting your vehicle fixed. You hit a Walmart pole. Have you seen the Walmart poles lately?
I have.
Oh, gosh. As an insurance agent, I walk up there and I just like, oh, my, I can't even look. Like, this is horrible. You know, also, what also scares me each year, and I'm just going to put it out there, is the run what you brung at Thunder Road. Because I'm like, I'm not even watching this. I don't want to see any cars that I insure.
Sure. Is State Farm sponsoring?
Oh, no. I can't. Okay. That's one of those things that's a no-go.
Yeah. Maybe the Demolition Derby?
Potentially.
If they're, okay, at one of the fairs? All right.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, this is really scary stuff.
Right. So, I mean, these are the things that we have conversation. This is the same exact conversation I have if you're sitting across from us at a desk at my office.
We've had this conversation.
And it's your choice.
Yeah.
Ready? I'm going to say, hey, what do you want to do?
Sure.
Because you can have this price and where you're at, or you can pay a little bit more and make sure that you feel good while you're driving down the road.
Sure. And we, some of us are willing to kind of roll the dice a little bit in our lives to save a buck, and some of us are not willing to. I'm not willing to.
It's called self-insurance. Self-insurance.
Yeah. But also, I don't want to be overpaying for something. I don't want my, we need to know. We need to know, and that depends on a lot of things. I mean, how nice our car is, what our driving history is, what, are we a good driver? Are we reckless? How far are we driving every day? What kind of roads are we driving on every day? What, all of those things. Also,
the claim history in the area also comes into play. So it's like so different towns might have different rates. There's a lot that goes into it, and that's the whole part of it. Also, consumer reports.
Wow.
Does go into it. A lot of insurance companies do pull consumer reports, and that does affect your rate.
Is your rate going to be higher if your car's red?
No.
What?
That's a misconception. That's an old time. Like if you have a hot red car, yellow car.
Bright yellow?
No.
What?
Yeah, that's the one thing. It's all about the vehicle, the cost of repair, the value of the vehicle, and your driving history.
Not the color.
Not the color.
Now, could say that Smokey Bear that's camped out in the middle might be apt to turn its head a little sooner if it was a bright red or a little yellow.
I will
Is that a true statement?
I will tell you that the flashier the car, in my knowledge of how that works out, is typically more noticeable for anyone that's doing radar.
Interesting. Judy's asking, do you offer glass coverage? Yesterday, we were riding with a friend to Burlington. 2 stones hit the window.
So glass coverage, depending on the insurance company, is either an endorsement you can add or it's part of your comprehensive coverage. So with State Farm, it is part of your comprehensive deductible.
You just told me before we went on the air that 14% of Americans are driving around uninsured.
Yeah. No insurance whatsoever.
That's like 1 in 7.
1 in 7. And that's in the country, right? So you got to think, that it may be New York City, LA, where it might be a little bit more. I would say in Vermont, 10%. 1 out of 10.
So if they hit you, if you're in an accident, they're at fault. They hit you. You're banged up. Your car's banged up. Your body's banged up. What happens?
That's uninsured motorist coverage, right? So
who pays that?
So that is a type of coverage that is the law in Vermont that actually has to be written into your policy. So it usually matches your actual liability limit. So if you write $100,000 per person, $300,000 for the accident, that's going to be the uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage on your own policy. So
you're going to be okay.
Your own policy will cover you. There's some limits in Vermont when it comes to the property damage side of uninsured motorists, but it definitely can be a lifesaver in that situation.
Interesting. Okay.
When people hit your home and are driving drunk and may not have coverage, that helps.
They hit the home because there was no guardrail there at the time. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But you know what? We're the worst case scenario guys, right? I tell people that all the time. Is I am always going to be the devil's advocate and say, hey, what if this happens? What if this happens? Hey, JD, what if you don't wake up tomorrow? Like, right?
We're going to talk about that too.
Like that's my job. That's what I get paid for, is to be that person. And a lot of folks, run away from it, being like, oh, there's Bob trying to upsell me again.
Yeah.
If I increase your policy by $10 a month, I'm probably making $1, right? So in the grand scheme of things, it's not from my pocket why I'm asking questions and going through things. It's because I don't want to see you on Facebook.
Sure.
On a GoFundMe trying to fund something. Right? Like that's what I'm here for. Like, is to protect you.
I stand by because I'm going to ask you about fire insurance, and we're going to talk about about California wildfires and whatnot. But in the meantime, 479-3353 is the number to call for State Farm. As you know, someone's going to answer right away, probably within the first 3 rings, and it may be Lisa, like it was this morning, and they'll answer any questions that you have. And if you want to get a quote, even by the phone or by text or by email, this month, just getting a quote, Bobby's going to send you $20. You got some confidence that you're going to be able to, at the very least, match what someone's paying and maybe increase their coverages. And if you can't beat it, you'll be the first person to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. JD, it happens all the time. I mean, I'm going to tell you, like, we're not always the cheapest. I don't like that word, sorry. Most affordable.
Yes. Right?
So we're not always the most affordable, and we'll tell you that. We're not going to, like, take, your coverage away to try to make that look good. Yeah. It's not what we do. We'll just say, hey, JD, now's not the time to make the switch to State Farm. We recommend you stay where you're at. So
I love that about you guys.
And that's the thing. And we're the only ones that can quote State Farm. So obviously, if you call a broker, they can't quote State Farm. They might have 8 or 10 other companies, but they can't give you a State Farm quote. And there's a reason why State Farm is number 1 in auto and home in the country, right? So, there's sometimes we can save people thousands a year. Sometimes we save them $100 a year with a lot better coverage of what they needed.
Exactly.
So,
which was my case.
Right.
That was actually my scenario. My coverage went up, and my cost went down, because we added another vehicle to it and my homeowner's policy.
Yep. So when you bundle those, you get discounts, right? That work on both sides, right? So you get auto discount on your home discount on your auto. You get multi-car discount. You have a good driving discount because of your driving history. You have Drive Safe and Save discount. That's there as well if you want to save some money and let State Farm score you while you drive. There's a lot going on there. It's definitely a great situation to have us go through that and make sure. There's also other things that we come across. I recently was quoting someone in the community that is in the trades. They drive their vehicle around, doing business, and maybe early 30s. On his policy, he still had a good student discount and a student away discount, JD, which means he is supposed to be at college during the semester, and his vehicle sits and is not driven until he gets back for vacation.
Wow.
So what I recommend in those situations is, you're saving some money. That's great. That's a fantastic discount to have for 10 years. Somebody should have caught that and pulled that off. Insurance is one of those things where you don't want anything to come between you and a claim.
Yes.
Right? So not saying that wouldn't get paid out by that company, but you don't want to have anything kind of sitting there in that situation.
I remember saying to you, Bobby, I absolutely hate surprises.
Yeah. Like my wife. Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
Oh, yes,
Just
I know.
like my wife.
Speaking of wives, Sherilyn and I got into an interesting conversation. If someone has, let's say someone has two working vehicles at the house, they're both insured. One of those vehicles craps out. The third vehicle is working just fine. It's in the barn, runs just fine, but no longer insured. Can another family member drive that other car that works just fine in the meantime while the other one is getting fixed, even if it's not insured? In other words, is it the car that has to be insured or the driver that has to be insured, or both? If the driver is insured, is that enough to legally and safely drive a vehicle that's not insured?
Right. Sherilyn's not going to be happy with my answer here, JD. So every vehicle that is on the roads has to have a bare minimum of liability per state regulation to be driving down the road. Okay, so that means every vehicle has to have its own coverage. Now, there's times where your coverage does extend to another vehicle, like a rental car.
Interesting.
In that situation, but you don't own that car and you're not the principal operator of it.
I wish there was some cash involved with this bet with her or something, dinner, something, because she lost.
She lost. But you know what? How you fix that? You make a quick call over to that number that you just called and said, hey, I want to put coverage back on this vehicle. And guess what happens in 2 minutes?
What?
Done.
It's that simple.
That's that simple.
And what if you want to have it insured for, I don't know, 30 days?
Great. When you're ready to pull it back off, call us back. We'll either suspend it for you or we can cancel the policy.
I love that. Bobby, I am, along with so many other Vermonters, complaining so much, and I get heat from about this every year. I complain about the potholes.
We need to make a swimming pool.
We got a comment here from Rex here. I got to read it in a second. But the potholes, man, it's like if you're not paying attention and you hit one of these suckers, there's some big ones out there,
right?
And if your eyes are open and you're looking at the road and you're paying attention, you see them coming. You're like, oh my God! You get around that thing and you're like, I am so glad I didn't hit that.
Right. Everywhere here.
The one by Hobby Lobby. I mean, look at over just past your office, head over by South End Cumbies.
I like to call them craters.
What the hell is going on over there by South End Cumbies, the bridge there? Holy shit. Do you drive through there?
Every day, multiple times.
Is it better to go 60, 70, 80 miles an hour through there or better to go like 1 mile an hour through there?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
I really don't think it matters. I think it's a situation now where you used to be able to get around it. Now you can't. So That does bring up a question that I have actually been asked recently is if I hit a pothole and I do damage to my vehicle, is it covered under my insurance?
There you go. $1 million question this morning. I want to know.
There's a difference between wear and tear of a vehicle, which is like your normal wear and tear, like your, struts, your
shocks,
your tire wear, your oil changes, that type of thing. So wear and tear is never going to be covered on an auto insurance or even your home or renter's policy, right? Okay. But let's say you really do hit a pothole hard and you do damage to your vehicle, which could be your frame, could be your body,
wheel, rim.
That type of thing. You can make that's a collision. That's a collision with the road, right? Okay. Now, if your strut starts making sound, probably going to be a wear and tear issue. Like it's a strut. That's what it does. It kind of, braces for that impact.
Okay.
And eventually will go. But it depends on the severity. Example, let's say your motorcycle falls off its kickstand and hits the road. That's a collision with the road. That's a collision. Strange, right? Insurance is a weird place. But potholes are interesting, right? Most normally going to be a wear and tear issue. Depending on the severity of that, it could create it to be a collision.
Okay. You've seen this. You've heard this right here in our community where people are asking you about this.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I get it. Every day is different over at the office, right? It could be a claims issue. It could be a liability problem. It could be explain this coverage to me, add this coverage. We have upset customers too. It happens. Nobody really wants to deal with insurance. Nobody wants to pay for insurance.
Sure. Sure.
Thank God, rate increases have slowed to a stop. Actually, State Farm hasn't taken a rate increase here in Vermont since last April.
Wow.
And really that was an interesting time, right? COVID happened to us, right? And nobody was driving their vehicles. There was not very many claims happening. So most companies took big decreases or sent money back, right? State Farm did both. We took like 25% off the rates and sent money back, right? State Farm's a mutual company. Wow. So State Farm, we're not traded on the stock market like the big 800 companies that everybody kind of can probably tell. So we're a mutual company, which means owned by the actual insureds.
Okay.
So when too much money is taken, they have to give it back in one way or the other, and that's what happens, right? So we took a bunch of money off, and then inflation kind of kicked in, right? So severity, which is payouts of losses, doubled, in 2021, 2022. And then body shops kind of got behind. So normally a fix of a car would be, a couple weeks. Now is 2 months, right? So then your rental car coverage on your policies maxing out. So the issue is we're paying out double in claims, and this is an every insurance company issue. It wasn't just State Farm, but everybody kind of had to take that money back.
Yeah.
You gave all the money, but then they're like, oh, dang, we're in trouble. We got to take that money back now because we have to have a certain amount in claim money that, to make us solvent as an insurance company. And we have to keep that going.
Tell me about this lady with the surrender fees.
Oh, life insurance. Okay. We'll get to life insurance. So I do a lot of reviews with folks. I did a review for yourself, JD.
Yes.
There was a lady that came in about a year ago to my office, and she had purchased a life insurance that her business had brought in just to help the employees, right? It wasn't something the business actually was paying.
Folks, you got to listen to this. This is unbelievable.
So after quoting everything, we were actually able to give her the same, death benefit on her life policy at a lower premium. Then we started taking a look at the fine line print on that policy. In order for her to stop that policy with the other company, she had to pay $1,500 to do so. So talk about shady, right? Different companies do different things. That's one thing you're never going to have with State Farm. If you cancel with State Farm, you're canceled. There's no surrender fee, cancel fees, and there's none of that. So that's the tough part about life insurance is a lot of people will sign up for things and not know the fine line print. Like, I mean, example, if you watch daytime television right now, how many life insurance ads are you going to actually see? Probably 10 an hour, right? A lot of them say, hey, you can get this policy for $9.99 a month. Well, that's $9.99 per 100 or 1,000 of coverage, right? Depends on the company. They're going to make you jump through hoops, make you invest your time, then give you this price at the end that is outrageous. Most people sign up for it.
Yeah. Through my credit union, I receive stuff in the mail all the time. Sign right here. Check this box. And for $5 a month,
yep,
it will automatically pull it from your account. You're going to get $10,000 worth of life insurance.
Yeah.
Kuna. Is it Kuna?
I know there's so many I can't keep up with them.
Yeah. So many. Isn't that incredible? There's so many. Yeah, I think it was.
I'll tell you though, JD, I always tell people, yeah, sign up for that. There's a reason. It's cheap. It gives you some coverage, but understand it. Do some homework. It's typically accidental only, right?
Okay. Oh.
So when it comes to those type of policies, there's a reason why it's cheap, because it's not covering natural causes. So 75% of the time, if anybody ever passes, whether it's, longevity or unexpectedly, is going to be of natural causes. 25% of the time is accidental, right? You walk out on Main Street, somebody, doesn't stop and hits you, and bus maybe, something like that. It's great. It protects you 1/4 of the time out there. It's cheap, and that's why. So that's one of those things where we don't sell a policy that's accidental only. It's natural and accidental. There's very few exclusions with them.
What if you have you have two policies, both with the same coverage? So I get this CUNA, and then I have another policy that's also has accidental in there. It happens. Which policy kicks in?
You can stack life insurance.
You can.
You can stack life insurance. Typically, if you're paying for it, it's going to pay out. It's not like a health insurance where you can't have multiple. So life insurance is one of those things that typically are, you can stack as many as you want. You can have multiple term insurance policies. You can have a lot of whole life. You can have, a variety that are set up in different times of your life.
Okay.
And they all get paid out tax-free.
All right. Just got this in the mail from AARP Life Insurance Program. I'm going to open it right now.
Great.
I'm going to hand it over to you. Literally, I'm opening this right now.
So if you're getting AARP, what does that mean for you, JD?
But it means that I'm a little older, Bobby. Come on, stop picking on me, buddy. You'll get there. You're right behind me, pal.
Man, I'm feeling. I got turned 40 in January.
Here, I'm gonna hand that to you right now.
So I'll give you a stat. So
that just came in the mail.
Half of the people that are going to view this program today or watching it right now either do not have life insurance at all, or do not have enough life insurance at all. Half.
Okay.
So half of you that are actually listening or watching this right now should probably do a review on your life insurance.
Okay. All right. Bobby's having a look at my AARP.
So this looks like
junk mail.
Well, it's a type of permanent or whole life policy that they'll send out where you can choose between $10,000, which is a final expense, to $150,000. Some of it does say current monthly rates for women, non-smokers. So it could be term or whole. It's just a general type of marketing to get you to call. And then they're going to try to explain this all over the phone to you, and it's impossible.
Yeah.
So it depends on the type of policy that I'll tell people what you're looking for. There's 3 different types, really. Term, which is like a temporary. You're basically setting the policy up to lock in a price for 10, 20, or 30 years. And at the end of that, the policy's done, basically, right? So let's say you set up
when it's done, you're 20 or 30 years older.
Right. But it's cheap.
With health issues, maybe.
It's more affordable of a policy, JD. So a lot of people set that up to set up a $500,000 policy or $1 million policy to protect their family, their home, or their mortgage, to make sure the family could stay in there if something happens to them, so the family has no impact of losing the home and paying the bills. there's a place for it. There's definitely a place for it. That's the number one product we typically sell is term life. I do recommend a term and a whole life policy, though.
Both.
Yes. So term is basically to protect your family, a long-term type situation to make sure the family can stay in the home. Permanent or whole life or universal life will actually lock in your age now for the rest of your life, and actually have living benefits, which is like a cash value type living benefit policy, and the death benefit side. So what I like to tell people what whole life is or permanent coverage is basically a forced savings account that gets high yield interest and death benefit attached to that.
You can cash out.
You can cash out. It takes a little bit to kind of get that snowball going.
Penalty?
No penalty.
No penalty.
Nope. So on a whole life policy, the only thing you're going to actually ever have to pay taxes on if you cash that out is the gain, the amount that State Farm actually paid you in interest or whatever company you have it with. So that's why I recommend both. You have your term that locks in 10, 20, or 30 years. Once that expires, you fall back on the whole life or the permanent policy that you set up that actually locked in your age now for the rest of your life that never expires, and then you have cash value going on.
All right, layman's here. So you're older, you're sick. The end is coming.
Yeah.
You might even see the end.
Right.
Cash out, buy a yacht.
You could, or you can go to Hawaii. You go somewhere that's not 9 degrees outside. But you know what? It's your money. You don't have to give me a reason why you're cashing out.
It's amazing.
It's not a bank.
You said to me, JD, do you know? Let's talk about. Let's paint. Everyone's got a different scenario, different picture, unique. And you said let's paint your picture here. You got this, you got that. We got your age. You own a home, multiple cars, a zippity doo. Have you ever heard of umbrellas? And I'm like, yeah, you put the umbrella if it's raining. You did that with me, an umbrella policy.
Yeah.
Talk to it. Dumb this down, please.
Right. So umbrella is basically an extra amount of coverage that goes over your auto and your home, basically. And it gives you $1 million. Well, it starts at $1 million. You can go higher of extra coverage. So I'll give you an example, right? Let's say you have that accident down on Main Street like we talked about earlier. That person actually gets hurt and sues you for $150,000. Say your policy limits are lower at that point. You can set up an umbrella policy, right? An umbrella policy gives you $1 million on top of your liability on your auto and your home. So now you're looking at $1.3 million of base coverage, if you want to call it that. And that issue that you had on Main Street, now your insurance company's taking care of for you, which means the actual legal defense and the payout.
Yeah. You also said to me, JD, how long have you had your homeowner's policy? And I told you, and you said, well, a lot of time's gone by here. The market has changed. Your home is probably worth a lot more than what it was.
Right.
Things have changed here. So what are you insured for your homeowners? And I said, Bobby, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I brought you the policy, and you're able to match it up with what my home is really worth, and then some.
Yeah, two different values there, JD. So you have your market value, and then you also have your rebuild cost, right? Rebuild goes into the actual labor and materials of rebuilding. And one of your other sponsors, Rex with Bartlett Construction, this would be a great chat with him on Friday and just ask him how much more materials are this year and compared to what they used to be.
Talks about it all the time.
50% typically, right? Yeah. So I'll tell you, that's the issue. A lot of people that we've had policies that were put in place prior to 2021, 2022, you probably don't have enough coverage to rebuild your home.
Right.
And I think the stat's 40%. 40% of everyone in the country for anyone that has a homeowner's policy, oh boy, underinsured, their home is underinsured. So it's important, and all that is call your insurance agent, call my office and say, hey, I'd love to just go over my policy and make sure that I'm properly insured. And a good agent will go through your replacement cost estimator, make sure the square feet is right, make sure there's been no improvement since then, make sure everything matches, and refresh that rebuild cost.
Interesting.
Now, I'll give you an example though. Say you're insured for $250,000, and it increases to $350,000. Your rate's probably going to go up.
Okay.
Right now, but what's the price to pay a couple dollars more a month to make sure that you could actually build your home if you have a total loss?
Yeah, interesting. Gabe is asking us to talk about flood insurance, which we've already examined that. We've already talked about that. So, Gabe, if you have a chance, go back and rewatch or re-listen. But the bottom line on flood insurance is what, Bobby? Do you have to if you live in a flood zone, do you have to have flood insurance?
Typically depends on if your mortgage company or not requires that. So sometimes in order to actually get a mortgage, they'll require you to have flood insurance in place if you're in a flood zone. You can get it privately, or you can call an insurance agent that can write it. Like State Farm doesn't offer flood insurance, but I can write it through FEMA or an FIP separately.
Yeah.
And you can call and get a quote at any time on that. Typically, if you're in a flood zone, it's going to be more expensive than it would be if you're not directly in a flood zone.
And if you're not in a flood zone, you can still buy flood insurance?
You sure can. I mean, You can buy flood insurance if you're a homeowner, if you're renting just for your personal property, if you're a business owner. It's definitely something that I recommend now more than ever based on the last few years.
And does State Farm offer flood insurance?
State Farm doesn't, but I can. I have a separate ability to write it through FEMA or NFIP. Now, when it comes to...
What's NFIP?
So that's National Flood Insurance Program.
Okay.
Right? So, but flood is not covered under any home, renters, anything. No water, underground seepage of water, earth movements are named exclusions. So that's why you need a flood insurance policy.
Wow. I'm just glancing here. We were talking about back to life insurance. We had a really, for lack of a better term, intimate conversation about life insurance in your office, and you asked me some really hard questions, and a lot of it was surrounding Lily.
Right.
And we get the will drawn up, we do this, we do that, but life insurance is really, really, really important.
Yeah, it is.
Because if you don't have it and you pass, what happens to your family?
It's a great question, JD, and I'm going to be a little corny right now with my response, okay? So everybody be ready. So anybody that's listening, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think. If something happens right now or even tonight and you don't wake up tomorrow morning, what does it look like for your family financially? Okay, and I want you to think maybe in 1 month, what does that look like financially? Okay, and I want you to kind of think in about 1 year, what's that look like financially for your family?
Right.
And then I want you to think 3 years, what that looks like for your family financially. That's the scary part. A lot of folks only have life insurance through their employer, right? Usually 1 times their salary. What's that mean? Mm-hmm. That means your income is being replaced for 1 year to your family minus your funeral expenses, okay? Your family might be okay for a year. That they can stay in the home. They're not going to be impacted with bills to a certain extent. What happens after that is the question, and that's the problem. That's when families crumble. That's when mortgages, your payments lapse, and you have to give up your home. And your family then has to make major changes to stay afloat. Mm-hmm. That's what my job is, to make sure that my customers, or even folks that are not my customers right now, realize that you can supplement with a more affordable term policy to prevent that from happening. For less than $1 a day, typically, JD, we can make a program that supplements what you have through work, so your family does not have to have a financial crisis. There's no catastrophe for them. Life insurance is the hardest part of this because there's nothing you can put in your hand. You can't hold it. You can't drive it. It's nothing that you technically have as a material possession, but it's something that allows me to sleep better each night, knowing that if I don't wake up, JD, my family, Jessica, are going to be in good shape.
How many kids do you have, Bobby?
2.
Okay. Isn't that amazing that you know that you, like you just said, you can sleep knowing that they're all going to be okay, not just for 6 months or a year.
That's it. You know, you want to give your family time, one, to grieve, but also to continue living their life until they can make adjustments down the road. Because you're never going to replace you as a parent, right?
Yeah, right.
When you have kids, if you lose a parent, you can never replace that. But you can still take care of them.
And Lily could use my life insurance payout, making her the beneficiary. She can use that for
whatever she wants.
Wow.
Whatever she wants.
Can I say, not until you're 18, not until you're 25.
Yeah.
Can I say?
Yeah, you can name children. I would just say if they're underage, naming someone that can be a guardian at that point, just to make sure that the money goes to them when they become old enough. And we ask those questions when it comes to like primary beneficiary successors and which way we go when we set up these policies.
Is it important to have your life insurance policy somewhere accessible in your home where your wife knows where it is, your girlfriend knows where it is, your other family members know where it is, or do you have to put it in a safe deposit box? Or what do you in the safe? What do you do?
I recommend you have it somewhere where it can be found if something happens
with
to
the
you.
will.
Yes. Yeah, that's 100% one of the recommendations, because we'll do our best. Like I'll be honest with you, we do look at the World and the Times Argus each day. We'll read through the obituaries as an office, and we'll do our best if something happens to try to reach out. But sometimes we just don't know, right? Mm-hmm. So have that to be a place where it can be found. And if someone's able to call my office and let me know, I'm usually going to ask a couple questions. Mm-hmm. Is there an obituary yet? Mm-hmm. And let me, and basically that's number one. And then there's paperwork to sign, which I'll have you come in, or I can come out to you in that situation. Mm-hmm. And then I hand you a check. Yeah. Personally, I'm not just the person that sets up the policy. I'm also the one that's going to be handing your family a check. Really? And that's happened a few times. And that brings it all full circle for me. Yeah. When you see that reaction for folks when they get handed a check, it's a different feeling that you can't replicate. Wow.
I want to ask you about the wildfires in California. Oof, because when that was happening, it was all over Facebook and it was all over Aired Out too, and there were a ton of comments that were coming in. You saw those comments on Aired Out. Yeah. What say Bobby?
So there's a lot going on over there. Okay, so I'll just put it out there that this has been an issue that's been going on for years upon years over there in California, where it's an over-regulated insurance state. So for many, many years, let's say 5 or 6 years now, insurance companies have actuaries behind the scenes that say, hey, insurance company, we think you should raise rates because of heightened issues with brush,
mudslides,
fires in the area,
earthquakes,
the actual weather patterns, that type of thing, right? And insurance companies have submitted for increases in California for years upon years upon years upon years. Because of the overregulation in the state, none of those were approved, right? So now you have insurance companies that are just bleeding money, okay? And they're insuring homes in high-risk areas. And I'll say it, State Farm, I believe last year lost $8 billion in California, okay?
$8 billion.
With a B, okay? So let's just say if you're a small business and you are bleeding money like that, how long are you staying afloat? It's not long, right? And if you can't fix it, what are you going to do? It's the only thing that you have as a company that you can fix that problem. And that's kind of what started happening. Actually started happening about 3 years ago. A lot of the insurance companies, not just a State Farm, started just non-renewing policies. That's all they had. They can continue just kind of getting killed on the claim side, or they can non-renew. And the state law in California is 75 days. So if your home's going to get non-renewed if you're in a fire zone, you have a 75-day warning that it's going to happen.
Well, the whole state's a fire zone.
There's more. I mean, there's definitely some hot spots there that are more high risk, right? And the tough part is they're still trying to fight, even after this, to stay in the state and to not non-renew any more homes by taking some increases, and they're still fighting for it. So there's a lot of misconceptions about what happened about insurance companies there. Unfortunately, it's only part of the problem. Right. The other part of it is the overregulation and how long it's taking for insurance companies to actually be able to take an increase to match the risk that they're paying out for.
So are you basically saying that a large number of those homes that were destroyed by fire are not going to be insurable? Those people have lost that stuff.
Unfortunately.
Permanently.
Now there is a way that California has their own state insurance now. Same thing like Florida has for home insurance policies that just no one will take the risk anymore. So the state of California actually has their own at triple the cost of all other allowed insurance companies in the state, which is kind of strange, right? You have the state that won't allow any insurance to actually increase their rate, so they stay in the state and insure homes, but the state can actually charge triple, for their pool. So there's a lot going on over there politically. There's a lot going on regulatory. I just want to clear up the fact that this isn't just an insurance greed problem. This is something that has been bubbling and bubbling for years upon years upon years. And unfortunately, it's kind of reached the climax to it all here.
What's going to happen with all?
So there's a moratorium that was placed by the state of California about a week after the fires, and so no one can get non-renewed right now. But I'll tell you, when that expires, I bet you most carriers pull out of the state of California unless some regulatory changes are made there that allow some rate increase to actually happen. And on the flip side, I do get asked that question a lot, is California and the problem they are affecting our rates here in Vermont, right? I've had quite a few calls there. And the answer is no, it shouldn't. California and how State Farm deals with California is its own separate company. It's called State Farm General Insurance. And what that means is they actually have their own bucket of money that is reinsured. So basically, some insurance companies in a high-risk situation will actually insure their insurance policies, right? It's kind of weird, I know.
Wow.
So no, it shouldn't affect Vermont. So Vermont's its own bucket. Let's just say, we're our own claims bucket. We're our own rate bucket. We have 600,000 people. New York's a different bucket. Vermont's a different bucket. So what we try to do is price our risk accordingly based on what's going on for claims in our bucket. So
I've got my homeowners with you. I have 3 vehicles and 2 vehicles and two vehicles and 2 motorcycles insured with you guys. And I have to say, what you've done for us, what you've done for Sherilyn and I is amazing, amazing. Whether, and I would say that gladly, whether State Farm is a presenting sponsor of the Aired Out podcast or not, you guys have really bent over backwards for us, and we appreciate it so much. I've got the umbrella policy, and for you to take out the magnifying glass and go through my stuff and say to me, JD, you're buttoned up, you're in good shape, relax.
Yeah.
On all levels.
Right.
Even my life insurance policy is a great feeling. It's a great feeling. My home, my auto, everything. And Sherilyn feels the same way.
And that's the goal. We want you to feel that if something happens, you're taken care of.
Yeah.
That's it. Because you're paying money.
Yeah.
You're paying money to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the misconception of it all. Is a lot of people pay money thinking they're going to be taken care of, and they're not.
Yeah.
Their coverages are not correct.
Yeah.
So I just recommend, whether you call my office or not, anybody that's listening or watching, call your insurance agent and just ask for a review.
479-3353 is your number. If you get a quote on anything over at State Farm during the month of February, Bobby's going to cut you a check for $20 regardless of that quote and the results of it. Email Bobby.
Yeah, it's Bob at rockcityinsurance.com.
Okay. Yep. All right. And of course, you can literally walk through the doors, in there, say hi to Nicole, Lisa, Tiffany, Malia, Jessica, you, and say, here's my stuff.
I'm so proud of my team. They do an amazing job for the customers. They're just fantastic.
You do an amazing job for the community. Your whole team does. But I mean, the fact that you do little things. You dress it up for Christmas. You got the pumpkins out there during Halloween that you give to the community. You do a lot of great stuff, Bobby. You really do.
Thank you. We try.
You literally act like you love what you do. And that's cool as hell, man.
I do. And in my life, my profession doesn't stop. I mean, I'm asked about insurance everywhere I go, which is fantastic. That's just what I do. But we try to live the good neighbor mentality, if you want to call it that. It's not just a slogan that you see on TV.
Sure.
That's what I'm charged to do as an agent.
Right. I want to get more involved with you guys. I want to come over there and maybe do a quick live stream, just walk around, show people what to expect. I'm going to walk through the doors, just like I called over this morning.
I had someone walk in last week that said, "Wow, I didn't expect this place to look like this in here."
I know, it looks awesome.
It's not a gloomy old insurance agent office, I tell you that. We try to make it a little more fun.
Yeah. Thank you for everything you've done. There's a lot of comments here and a lot of questions. One of them is, let's see, right here. Where is it? Ask Bobby about his band. The dude is a rock star. Just look at his hair. I mean, that's one of the comments here. What's the deal? You're really a drummer?
I'm a drummer, yeah. I'm in a cover band. It's called Barbie and Bones. It's based out of up in Chittenden County, Franklin County area. We play about 14, 15 shows a year. Playing the Den coming up here in fall.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got to go.
It's going to be a blast.
I've got to go.
It's going to be fantastic. I think it's October 4th at the Den.
Thank you for everything you've done for our community. Thanks for everything you've done for me personally, man.
My pleasure.
I really mean that. I love having you as my insurance guy. And I know that I can ask you any question that I might have, and you'll give me an answer. And there's been a few times where I'm like, whoa, Bobby, no. Dumb it down, pal. And you do that. I love that.
I get too excited about insurance
Yes.
sometimes. I'm an insurance geek.
Are you a geek?
I can be.
Okay.
I can be a geek. So I do have to remind myself to dumb it down sometimes in my excitement when I talk to someone. So
yeah.
I'll tell you, insurance can be boring and it's horrible at times.
Yes.
But we're going to try to make it fun for you.
I want to say also thank you for making me an MVB.
The most valuable bundler. Because we couldn't give it to Mahomes. He didn't win.
Come on, Bobby. Come on.
We don't have the confetti today.
Woo-hoo! No confetti today. Thanks for being here, Bobby. Thanks for being a presenting sponsor. Either way, man.
Appreciate it.
I love you guys to pieces, and I'm so happy to have you on the air. You're going to come back in here again,
Absolutely.
right? I hope you do, man. I hope you do.
Sounds great. I appreciate you, and thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all the customers for your trust. We really appreciate it, everybody.
And drive carefully, man. Drive carefully this winter. Take it easy.
I always post sometimes, hey, it's a full coverage type of day today. Be careful. Be nice to everyone. I almost see accidents every day, and it's just cringeworthy. So just everyone take care of each other.
Thanks for coming in, buddy.
Appreciate it.
And get back in here soon.
Will do.
All right.